Uh, Welcome to another episode of Labor. I'm joined here with Rebecca Geiger, a good friend and co-worker. Thanks for making the time to
Thanks
come
for having me.
So we met at an agency, a marketing agency,
Mhm.
specifically experiential marketing. That's what we do, and we're here to talk about anxiety. It's a big topic, the least fun topic we've talked about so far. But definitely something that I think everyone deals with, whether they know it or not. Some deal with it better than others. Um, so, yeah, before we dive deep into anxiety, if you wouldn't mind just talking a little bit about where you are in your journey in life and just introduce yourself, a little backstory.
Uh, yes, thank you. My name is Rebecca. I'm from Texas. I have been in New York for 3 years now. This is my third year, and I think that I'm from the middle of Texas, so I remember being young and being like, I'm gonna live in New York someday, like this like whisper. And then by the time I'm in my 30s, I'm like, oh, this is easy, and you just like walk right in, and then you live in New York. Um, I try and go home as much as possible. Otherwise, I'm staying home as much as possible.
How has that transition been? Like, do you miss home?
No, I travel. I started traveling in 2010, so I haven't been in Texas since 2010. So then I was on the road on the go. I did one city a week for the better part of 5 years, traveling for work, doing tours, doing event marketing, things like that. I decided I wanted to not travel anymore, so I picked a place that would be satiating to sit in one spot because I didn't even know what that was anymore. So I picked New York, and 3 years later, that's where I am.
What's the biggest difference between Texas and New York?
My grandmother and I would call it Yankee bullshit.
Yankee bullshit.
Yankee bullshit. It's like the snow and the cold and like the lack of manners and or superficial things really. Like when you in any city you've been to, in any city that I've ever been to, everybody's doing the same thing. They're all living, they're all working, they're all going to dinner, they're all paying bills. Like it's not vastly different in any city. Like the scenery is different. Like when you walk around New York and you're having a bad day, you're looking at the ground, like suddenly you look up and you're looking at some amazing building. Like you get that in New York, you don't get that everywhere else. But you know, in Texas you're driving 80 down a highway because nobody else is on the road. You're paying significantly less in rent. Your family all lives there. It's not vastly different.
Yeah. Do you feel like, because I always wonder, like people who come from the South or the Midwest, where I don't know, people seem to be much nicer. They come here. Do you ever feel like you're becoming more of a New Yorker and losing temperament or anything like that?
Yes, I use proper manners because that's how I was raised. So I get that a lot, but then it comes across as condescending. So it sometimes it is, but you're from the South, like you use your manners even when you're upset. So I get that a lot, and people wouldn't understand it. There is the truth to that, like the Southern manners are kind of fake sometimes. Like, oh, bless her heart, it doesn't really mean something nice. In New York, I haven't. People aren't necessarily rude, but it's just they don't have the same vernacular when it comes to what they're speaking about their feelings. As far as becoming a New Yorker, like I'm quicker. Like I say exactly what I mean. Like I don't have time for you. Like I will tell you if you're wasting my time. Like I don't have to be polite to you afterwards. Things like that.
Now, would you ever say that? Did you ever get anxiety from moving to New York? Like, did that give you anxiety?
Yeah, absolutely. One, it wasn't for me. It was there was a period in between moving to New York. So it's not like and I'm from San Antonio. San Antonio is a city that's the same size as San Diego. It is a large city. It's sprawling. We don't have so many tall buildings, but it's big. It's not like I'm from the country. I did middle school and high school like in the country. Lived on a farm with like chickens and turkeys and shit like that. But I left San Antonio in 2010, so I was just like this downtown kid. And then I traveled, and I traveled for so long that I didn't know how to be in one place. I didn't know how to like form relationships again. I didn't have an apartment for 2 years. I didn't have a closet, like things like that. So when I moved to New York, it's like I'm learning to be stationary again. in this big city. So I didn't have a chance for like New York to overwhelm me because my lifestyle changed. I had enough with just that. But I do remember like 6 months into it is when it finally like caught up with me, and I was waiting for the L train because that's how I got to work every morning, and I'm very proud of myself. My mom's already come to visit, like I'm doing great, and I kept saying this thing like in Brooklyn where I live, so I'm already in this mindset. But I would go to work in the morning, and then I would watch the train go by, and then I'd watch another one go by, and then I'd watch another one go by, and I just couldn't like physically make myself get on this train. And then by the end of it, I'm just like sweating, and I'm like, you're gonna be late for work. Like, you need to go. And so I just shove myself in.
You just let trains pass by?
Yeah. Like, I'd get to like 4 some mornings.
Wow.
It just wouldn't, I'm just like, and then in my head, I'm like, come on. And then it just wouldn't physically do it. Some days I would just like turn around, like, I'll try again in, an hour or so. And I don't know why it manifested as like that was the big challenge, but that's exactly where it manifested. Like, whether it was like, being shoved up against everybody, not have a personal space, strangers touching me, like, but before I could even get in there and experience those things, like my chest is already closing up on me.
That's interesting. I mean,
that was the big one.
I'm trying to think about when I first moved here. I just always felt that's part of New York, and I have to like adapt to it. I always just saw it that way. So I just like, went with emotions,
I think that I'm so territorial about my space. Like, this is mine, and I own everything around me, and I have such an agency over myself. I think that there was something in that I was like, why are all these people in my space? Like, what are you doing? Like, don't you? Yeah, and I think there was something in that.
Yeah, it can get crazy packed.
Yeah.
Way too many. All right. Well, let's dive deep into anxiety. And I would start out by asking you, what is your definition of anxiety?
It's that feeling of like your chest caving in around itself, and you can't even like pull your shoulders straight to like correct your posture. That is the like base definition of it. As far as like a working definition, like it's a mental health is a sliding scale. Everybody starts at a different place, so you'll find yourself at a different place every single day. I don't think that it is a debilitating issue. Mm-hmm. I think that if you have a debilitating issue, there's probably something else that's going wrong. But it's that sense of agitation, or like, there's another word, attrition, like to wear something away abrasively. It's that.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I got a lot of imagery from that
definition. Because it's like.
Yeah, it's how you feel. Like
mm-hmm.
It makes you. So what gives you the most anxiety, you think, on a daily basis? Yeah, like now.
Like, what gave me anxiety today? Like people chattering, or mm-hmm. people being anxious or panicky in another situation. I don't respond that way. Like, if somebody's like that, like, I level out, I keep a monotone. Like, if I'm the first one popping off and being like the annoying, like, Chicken Little, like the sky is falling down, then there's something absolutely wrong with the situation. Usually it's everybody else first. So it's when somebody else is acting out too much in that capacity. Like that gets to me. I don't confuse annoyance with anxiety. They're not the same thing.
So, like, does it matter what they're talking about?
If it's not, like, useful stuff, or if they're trying to say, like, we're having this conversation and then someone else is, like, wanting to be a part of it, but nothing that they're saying is contributing to it. Like, they don't have a place there. That's them being anxious to be included in a situation that they may not need to be included in.
I see. I can think of many times when I experienced that.
So it's someone else. But an example of like when I create anxiety in myself, it happens. I'm just trying to think of a good reason. Like if I'm in my head a lot. So if I'm not being careful and I'm not managing the time I spend alone with the time that I need attention or I need to be social, like it's gonna happen. If I and not taking care of my health, if I'm not eating enough, if I'm drinking too much, then it's gonna happen because I haven't done something to like maintain like my level, my cool. So then you'll get that feeling that like rises up from you.
Like you're not doing enough?
No, maybe I'm not doing the right thing.
The right thing.
Yeah, and so it's like I can go and do something. Like I can always go and be busy, or I can go and be lazy if I need to. But if there's like something off with like my chemical balance, my like stasis, then that makes me like internally anxious.
What is there a part of your life or some time when anxiety was very overwhelming, or like when is the most anxious you've ever felt? Is there a moment in your life you can attribute to that?
Yes, and it's like periods of time. Like you could be anxious for a day and you're like, okay, you get over it. When it's like periods of time, like in my youth, like my 15, 16, it was a particular time, and it was the family situations. It wasn't just normal, like being 16 years old and having these anxieties. So I think that, I think again at 22, there was a long spell of it. And then I can remember another one at 24 a little bit, and then again at 28. So not that they're all in like 2-year increments, but they all coincide with some transition that I was doing in my life that was greatly changing the course that I was taking. Whether I intended that course to be changed or it was just changed for me.
So you were getting anxiety for different reasons?
Mm-hmm.
And you overcame it?
Yeah.
So what do you do to overcome anxiety?
You use the whole gamut. Like you just, like it's like pray to whatever God works, like whatever works. I've gone on medication before, and I'll do like a 4 to a 6 week. And then during that time, those are in like the periods I just called out. Like you'll go on something like SSI stimulant or an enabler, like it's like one or the other, and maybe like just like a chill out thing. You go on it for 4 to 6 weeks. These are common things, like people are on Zoloft, people are on like Lexapro, things like that. I never go for the entire length of it, but you use the smallest period of time, and then during that time, like at the worst, I do things like I make sure that my house is clean. I make sure that all of my laundry is folded. I give myself any ounce of preparation that I can to make it a little bit easier. Sometimes it's withdrawing from like whatever social circle I've committed myself to. So I've done things like that, and for like long periods of just like not being cool with the world around you.
It's like having more me time, sort of thing?
And structure. Like giving yourself the foundation and the stability. Like you have to spend that time creating your own stability. I think that's what I'm getting at. Like you spend that time, that 4 to 6 weeks, creating your own stability, that when you're ready to like step back out and like assume all your normal responsibilities, it's you've given yourself a leg up, some preparation. Now like day-to-day anxieties, like why hasn't someone answered this text? Why hasn't someone talked to me? Like these things that are all, I think what is very common to like associate with anxieties. Mm-hmm. It's just, if you're anxious because someone hasn't texted you back, I'm sure you have another friend that's going to be able to have a good conversation with you, and you can just calm down so you can let go of it. You're worried about your finances. Like you have more control over that, so maybe just toggle off a little bit and not go balls to the wall with your spending. So
it's definitely letting go.
Yeah.
Because that's easier said than done, right? A lot of people can't seem to let go of something. They really latch on to a scenario, and it drives them crazy.
I've been there, yeah.
Is there any moment, like anything you did to learn how to let go?
I'm sure yes, but I think the most effective thing was kind of the opposite, is that when you're in a state like that and you won't let go of a situation that you're anxious about, it's because there's something probably wrong with the situation, and then I'm a brat, and so then you just like act out, and someone else is gonna like cut the situation out for you, and you're like, well, I did this to myself. So I think that one's been effective.
With the consequences.
Yeah, exactly. And then in the consequences, they're negative at some point, but then you're like, oh man, I was a real asshole in that situation. And you're like, well, next time I don't need to go that far. I think that one's, the adverse consequences is kind of effective in that situation.
All right. That makes sense. And that's a good way to learn.
Yes.
Right? By action. Let me ask you, do you love yourself?
Yeah, I do. I'm real proud of myself. One thing, and I don't know where I learned it from, but I know that I learned it very young. And I remember saying it in high school. And it was, you're the only person in the world that you can remotely control. Like, why are you going to talk shit about yourself? Like, plenty of other people are going to do that for you. Like, do not do that to yourself. I don't say mean things about myself. I will say very honest things, and if I'm wrong in a situation, I'm going to own it, or if I'm embarrassed in a situation, I'm like, yeah, I didn't feel great about that. But I don't feel like this feeling of like I'm not worth enough, I'm not good enough. Like, if anything, like I'm arrogant and a little conceited, and I think that that's what's gotten me by. And I'm that way because I didn't ever start putting myself down.
So you've always been this way?
I mean, at least since I was like 15, 16. Or I had this mantra to like talk myself out of it. Mm-hmm. So even if it's like I wasn't one of those girls like, oh, I need to lose weight, I have body issues. Or I wasn't worried about how I was presented in a situation. Not to say that I was impervious or I was just like never affected by those. But I just would never let myself say those things about myself. And then if someone else was saying those things about me, then I was like, okay, well, that's not me. That's not what I think. Some of my family thinks, some of my sister thinks, some of my grandmother's going to tell me. Like, you just have to build that healthier foundation for yourself.
It's great. Mm-hmm. Yeah. No one else can do it but you, right? Mm-mm. Now, what do you struggle with on a daily basis? Or what is your biggest struggle right now you're trying to overcome?
I get impatient. And sometimes I don't know what I'm getting impatient about. I just have like this feeling of just like, this isn't going my way, or this isn't what I want, or this is annoying. And then I'll like catch myself like being like in this headspace. And sometimes you're like, oh great, well I already feel this way. I've already like released these chemicals into my system. Like we gotta like process this. But I noticed that. And I kind of have to take a step back and just be like, okay, well, one, I don't want to act like this. Two, I don't think there's really anything that like I'm lacking in this situation. And like, am I just being like a brat? Like, am I just bored? Like, those things happen to me.
That's funny because I consider you a very calm demeanor person in like high pressure situations. Mm-hmm. So does that process happen very quick and then you snap out of it? Or
some of it. In crisis situations, it happens very quick because I know that I have to be the leader in that situation and I know that I'm capable of doing it. But then it's like on the subway, like, do not hold your phone while you're going up the stairs. Like, just don't. Like, you don't need it right now. Like, get out of my way. Those things. And then I realize that, like, I'm having the nasty thought. Like, I'm being the negative person. Right. So that's where I have to catch myself.
Okay.
But then it's, like, it's so small. It's like, ugh.
Yeah, that's something I've been working on. And I hate when I get upset in those scenarios. Like, people walking with no purpose and I can't get by them.
They don't even realize they're doing it. They don't know you're behind
but
them.
But I can't get mad at that. But when I do, I get mad at myself because I'm giving my energy away. You know, mm-hmm. and I'm letting something get the best of me. Yeah. And I'm trying to work on that.
It's important. But it's like one of those things is like, you know you're getting mad about something stupid. And you're like, okay. And then don't let yourself keep getting mad at yourself for getting mad about something stupid. Like, at some point, stop and be like...
It's not that serious.
Chill. Yeah, I chilled out. I did good. And, like, grant yourself that little victory that you didn't pop off on a stranger. Or, like, having your phone out. Yeah. Like, I think that one... Everyone has that one.
Yeah. Like Union Square, as soon as you get off. Going up those stairs, the mess.
Or, like, the L train.
Every morning.
Like, I still avoid the L train, but you're just like this. And I'm like... They're not doing it to me on purpose.
There's soon no L train. So I'm going to look forward to the time I have the L train. What are your goals? And what are you doing to accomplish them?
My goals. Small incremental goals. Like, what do I want to do? Like, what outfit do I want to buy? What am I going to wear? Who am I going to talk to? Those, like, come and go. They change. They're very, very fluid. Overarching, like, life goals is that I just always wanted to be financially independent and autonomous. And that's my goal this year, to save aggressively. And again, it's just relieving any anxiety that I could have by providing my own stability, being very confident in that, and that is honestly the best feeling. It's like, I was always like, my boyfriend. Like, and I fall in love, and it's a great, great thing. And it wasn't until you get in your 30s, and then you start like, okay, well, I want to have all of this on my own, and it becomes less to you, and being able to provide it for yourself is 100% more important. To being able to like be the leader in my family is everything to me. Like to know that my sister and my family, they're good, they're independent, but like to know that like if a bill needs to be paid, I've got it. Like everything is paid in full now. It's not, nobody makes payments on anything. Like pay it in full, and then we're good. And it's providing like the stability that I create for myself to alleviate any anxieties that I can have in life. Now I can pass it on to my family.
That's great.
And it creates a broader structure.
Yeah, I definitely want to. I mean, I don't feel like I'm at the position yet, but give back to my family. I think it's important for anyone.
It is.
To remember, like, you're only where you are because of them.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And
it's the best feeling. Like there's nothing better than it. I mean, I go home, like, for years, like, I would just show up, like, hey, I'm in town, I have 3 days, and I just come, and I'm very loved. Like, I believe that I'm the most favorite person in my family. Like, I don't have a problem with that. Like, I'm very confident in that. But then I'd be gone for, like, 6 months, I'm missing everything, and then I'd show up, and I'm like, I have 3 days, pick me up at the airport at this time. And then they would, and then I'm just disrupting their lives, and they're always just let me, and then it's like, okay, it's time for me to go again. I'm like, okay, love you, bye.
Don't leave.
Yeah.
Don't leave.
Well, it was, for a little while it was don't leave, but I think that they learned their lesson, and they just stopped with that.
They'll know
one.
you come back.
Yes.
What would you say inspires you?
I feel like I should have like a really good answer for that one.
No.
I don't necessarily.
I think a lot of people don't know.
No, I don't know. There is a feeling, it's like the same, like, it's the opposite of like whatever is that crushing feeling in your chest. I don't know if I have words for it, but it's a good feeling. Like today the sun was out and everybody was feeling that same exact feeling. I think that it's similar to that.
So let's figure out what inspires you. Is it when other people around you are inspired? Is that
That's
like
neat to see.
contagious
Yeah.
energy? I know you read a lot.
Yeah.
You read a lot.
If anything, it
'Cause
probably
I helped
comes
you
in there.
move, and those bookshelves are nuts.
Yeah.
And those boxes of books were ridiculous. I'm like, get an Amazon.
I have one, and I'm actually reading an ebook right now. It's on my phone. But I'm also reading another paperback.
I understand the paper.
So it's like a thing. No, I think anything that I have in life comes from reading. It's just always something that I've done. It's this, every time I finish a book or every time I get into a book, it's this great feeling of accomplishment. Like it's never changed no matter how many books I've read. That's never gone away. It's always that same feeling. I do find inspiration in that. Because I'll find like these like one-liners or this perfect sentence, and I'm like, oh my god, that is so good.
Yeah.
And then those are kind of like things that like you sit and savor.
I don't know if this is you, but for me, like when I read something that, like a sentence that I really love, I just can't wait to use that.
You're like, learn a new word.
When something comes out like conversation, and I can just be like, oh yeah, this and that, and I'm like, oh damn, that was deep. I'm like, yeah, I know.
I worked for that. Yeah, no, that is the perfect feeling. And I can expand on that thought now that you like helped draw it out of me. Like I think that you're in a like fatalistic kind of way. Like you're given exactly what you need when you need it. And so imagine like you're having this moment, and then people are very common with a song lyric. I needed that song. I needed to hear that right now. And then I'll read something that's like this sentence, and I'm like, yeah. And then it like expands on or adds content to something that you've been thinking or feeling. but it always happens at like that moment when like you needed it. And I've read books and then read them years later and have them not mean the same thing, and then been able to like pull something out like I completely missed this. But when you think about it, you're like, well, 5 years ago I wasn't in a place where I could appreciate anything that this person in this book was going to. So things like that.
That's it.
That's it.
That's it. Now you know. No, that's a great answer. No, this has been great, and I think I just want to ask one final question to wrap things up, and this is something I ask everyone.
Everyone? Okay.
I think you've watched a few, so you know what this might be, but I want to ask you, what is your advice to people on how to live a more creative and meaningful life?
Creative and meaningful life. You have to be able to articulate what creative and or meaningful is to you. They're not the same thing for everyone, and if you can't have your own definition, then you're not going to be able to formulate your own measure of success. And so I'm sure there's always the cadence to really just be true to yourself and just, find what passions you. But it's like, start with being able to articulate what either one of those words mean to you, and then work towards being that definition.
So what are your definitions then?
Of creative?
What is a creative and meaningful life to you?
Creative and meaningful life. I have an easier time with meaningful because it's purpose-based. And what is your purpose in life? My purpose in life is to why would you lose your thought? I thought of my family in that one. My purpose in life is not necessarily to be a provider, but to like be this solid person. It's meaningful. I can give back. I'm a whole person. Like that's meaningful to me. It's not like a ladder rung of success that means the same thing, but like I don't know. I kind of lost my thought on that one. Creative. I think creative is easy. I think people confuse creative and artistic. Artistic is you have a talent, you have a skill. Creative is that you let your mind work. You could solve your own problems. I think that one's an important one to realize. Like, I can write and I can read very, very well. And I could probably have some artistic talent into that. But if I didn't have that artistic talent, it wouldn't mean that I wasn't creative.
I love it. This has been great. Thank you so much for coming on. Where can people follow you if they want to?
My Instagram is Rebex.
Rebex?
Rebex.
Did you change it?
No, it's always been that one since like 2010. I got Instagram when there was like maybe 100 people on it. It's so long.
I remember, when Instagram was. If you scroll all the way down to my feed, you can see like those filters, like.
Yeah, it's all it was. You're just gonna play with it, and it was only pictures, and then it was only captions.
I get like one like, I'm like, woo.
Yeah, if you look down on like real far on them, it's like nobody. And I remember you're like, I have 23 followers, and it wasn't anything, but it was just you playing with your friends. Like I'm sure there's like a picture of my feet.
Yeah.
Like nothing
I took pictures of a panini I made. It's nuts. Thanks again.
Thanks for having me. Cheers to our orange wine.
Yes.